Another one, number 5, episode 5 of box score watching. Let's get right into it. We start with Atlanta losing against Charlotte Hornets at home, which to me was a great surprise. But the Charlotte Hornets played some really good ball, played team basketball, and Dennis Smith Jr. continues his great return to the league in Charlotte with 18 points, 50% from the field, 6 assists. It's good to see him healthy and playing, and I'm happy somebody gave him a shot. That's the best part about the Hornets. Otherwise, they're still plenty uh, just a mediocre team that I don't like much. But it's good to see Dennis Smith Jr. out there. We'll see what happens with them once Lamelo gets back. How good they are. If they can, fight for playoffs playing. I don't think so, but their start to the season is pretty decent. As for what went wrong with Atlanta, well, they started off really hot. They were up by like 13 early in the first quarter, and then they started playing hero ball, and it all went wrong. Then they played some bad hero ball, bad defense, didn't play to their strengths. Felt like they forgot that they play pretty well playmaking wise. They play well team wide overall, and just they didn't have it yesterday. John Collins had his worst game, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Dejounte Murray had 19, 8 and 5. Not the best game. Trae Young still has not had a really great game to start the season, and they just didn't play well. This is their first loss of the season. Nothing. Obviously, start of the season, nothing too worrying. But we'll see if they get too cocky, too overconfident when they get leads and they play hero ball more during the season. There's something to watch with them. We'll see. There is a Trae Young explosion coming. I can sense it. I know Trae will have a great game soon enough, and that's something to look for. And even with his struggles from the field, he's still averaging 25 and 12, and he's shooting 32% from the field. 25% from the 3-point line, which is just atrocious. Next up, we have Ma Warriors defeating the Kings in a high-scoring game as the Kings go on free to start the season. As for Sacramento, Harrison Barnes has been awful to start the season, especially for a starter. KZ Okpala started, but they went to Keegan Murray as soon as possible because he was simply too good in the first half. Once he got going and once he started, his efficiency kind of went, but you can see he plays like a guy who's been in the NBA for a few years now, not a rookie. He'll be really solid for them. Aaron Fox continues a good start to the season with 26 and 10 on 55% shooting. Kevin Huerter had his worst game of the season so far, and Domantas Sabonis 19 and 14 but minus 25. He's horrible on defense, and the trades keeps looking worse and worse when you think about it. Overall, the Kings are fine. They'll be competitive this year, but they of course wanted a better start of the year, especially with the games they had, with how they looked, with their ambition to make the playoffs. 0-3 start is never good, but they didn't have the easiest schedule, especially with how Portland's looked overall so far. The Clippers are the Clippers, and the Warriors are the Warriors. As for the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, All-Star season number 2 baby, he is here. 24, 5, and 3 steals, 2 blocks. He's been in a groove. His jumper is looking as smooth as ever. He just has the championship glow, and it looks really nice on him, doesn't it? Draymond was solid. Clay struggled 2 games in a row. We'll see how since his conditioning is getting better and better, how he'll look during the next 15 games or so. Jordan Poole had a great game scoring wise, but his defense was not good at all. And Steph went crazy in the second quarter he had 21 points if I'm correct, and some tough shots made. James Wiseman once again. His offensive upside and potential on the offensive end is crazy high, but the defense is still very suspect. He keeps going. It feels like he does not know where the rim is when he's going backpedaling on pick and rolls, and he always ends up like under the basket, so he can't really contest the big men that are in front of him. And obviously he's young, he's not played that much, so we'll see how much he can work on it and how the hands can improve, which I've talked about in my season preview. Because if his hands were even slightly better if they were just solid. He would be averaging 20 points per game on 100% shooting. But the rotation is so far really, Kerr is out there in his bag experimenting, playing either the old guys or the young guys, and the young guys together just don't have that defensive identity yet. And we'll see how much Kerr shakes things up during the first 20 games or so, as he always does with new lineups, new players, young guys, old guys. It's gonna be fun to watch, and another W to add. And I just need to show Steph's signature step back as of right now. He always does this, so smooth, so fast. It goes in like crazy. It's so beautiful to watch. Watch that second quarter from Steph. He was sensational. Next up, the 03 Lakers, who suffered their worst defeat of the season so far and are looking just suspect as hell. The Blazers started 3-0, which is something really good to see. Dame Time was out there cooking up some things. 41 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. He had 6 turnovers. He was really good shot making wise, even though he started off pretty poorly. And he made that 3-pointer to put him up 2 with like 15 seconds left. Jeremy Grant had the game winner over LeBron, who didn't play defense, even though it was, the one time he should at least try playing defense. Anthony Simons struggled. We'll see how him and Dame figure out their duo. As for the Lakers, Lonnie Walker, 7 of 13. He seems to be the new Malik Monk, except Malik Monk was a better shooter. So it's like Malik Monk 2.0 with the worst fit with LeBron. I mean, his stats look great, which they always do, but I feel like he was not good at all in this game. His body language was horrible throughout the first, like, through the first half and, like, half of the third quarter until they started winning. His body language was horrible. It looked like he didn't want to be there. And, I don't know, man. Didn't play defense on the final play with Jeremy Grant. It's been a rough start for Lakers and LeBron. AD was sensational on the defensive end, 22, 10, 6 blocks, but his three-pointers have been very, very bad, and they left him wide open there. He hit the side of the backboard, which I'll show in a second. And the backcourt is horrible. Russell Westbrook, 4 of 15. His 2-for-1 situation is the most talked about one. I'll do a full review of the last 2 minutes. I'll break down. I'll talk about things I saw, I didn't see. And that will be the next video after this one. And their bench is just not good. And they shot 6 for 30 on 3-point attempts. At least they shot less threes, but they should shoot like 25 threes a game. They should just have no business shooting 30 to 40 3-point shot attempts per game. It just doesn't make sense for their personnel. And until they make some trades, it won't make sense. The Cavs defeated the Wizards in overtime, with Donovan Mitchell continuing his MVP type of start for the Cavs, as he wanted to take a huge step this season with the Cavs, and it seems like he's on the right path. The Wizards playing some really good ball to start the season also. Kristaps Porzingis, 18 points, 10 rebounds. He was pretty good. Kyle Kuzma with his worst game yet, but he was at least efficient. He didn't do any bad things. Bradley Beal with solid 27, 5 assists, 6 turnovers though, and there were some crucial ones. 11 of 16 from the field, which is great. Rui Hachimura had his best game of the season, I feel like, 16 points. And I just want to point out Johnny Davis didn't play again, and it's a horrible waste of a draft pick, in my opinion. And the Cavs, they have some struggles to start the season, especially with the Darius Garland not playing thanks to the eye injury he suffered in the first game. But Donovan Mitchell, 37, 5 and 4. He was not as efficient as he has been overall, but his three-point shot looks good. And the turnovers were up there. He was very bad in the end of fourth quarter, but he made up for it in the overtime period. Cedi Osman has been sensational off the bench, which is what they need. Dean Wade contributed a lot. Robin Lopez had a hilarious make, which I'll have to show you. It was so fucking hilarious to see this make. Evan Mobley with a nice entry pass, and he fell down. He just put it up. Made it anyway. It was fun to see. Fun game to watch. And the Cavs start 1-1 on the season. The undefeated Utah Jazz were taking on the undefeated Pelicans. And Lauri Markkanen continues his incredible start to the season. And the tanking Utah Jazz are 3-0. Lauri Markkanen had 31, 12, and 2 on some very efficient shooting. He made 11 of 11 free throws. And he made some clutch ones. Kelly Olynyk has been sensational to start the season. We'll see how long he stays healthy for, because that's his biggest problem. He always has been a good NBA player, but his health has not made him, that accessible. Jared Vanderbilt, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson made some really clutch shots, even though his efficiency was not good. Colin Sexton has not been that great to start the season, but Volker Kessler has been good to start the season, which is good for them. We'll see how fast they pull the trigger on trading some pieces here, because there's no way they want to win right now, obviously. But they're playing really good. They're a good team so far. They got some solid pieces in Markkanen and Olynyk, Vanderbilt, Clarkson and Conley, with some cool pieces off the bench. And they seem to be really coached up, even though they went to ISOs. But overall, they seem to play like like a team. They seem to enjoy playing with each other, and they got some pretty solid shooters and everything. We'll see how fast they pull the trigger on trading few of these pieces. As for the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram started off sensational once again, but he got concussed, which I don't remember seeing that often in the NBA, but he got concussed on the fast break and he didn't return for the game. Hope he's alright. I feel like his timetable for return will be fine. And Zion Williamson had probably his worst game defensively, but solid offensive game, but he fell on his back and he had to leave the game too. And he didn't finish the game outright. He was on the bench, he was out there. It appears he'll be fine, but he didn't finish the game. And I hope for his sake he's fine, because he deserves to be healthy. It would be a shame not to be robbed of Zion Williamson's career. Jonas Valanciunas struggled today. Herb Jones struggled today. CJ McCollum kept them in it with some solid bench contributions. As I talked about, they have the perfect bench personnel. They got the right type of guys that fit together, that can come in and be the glue guys, be the guys that they need to spark some things, with Larry Nance being the one today with 10, 7, and 6. And Trey Murphy just got a ratchet. He's a great shooter, 16 points, 9 boards, and they'll be fine, hopefully. Zion and Brandon can stay healthy. It's always the tough question with them. Can they stay healthy? Can they, just have some luck on their side for once? Because I feel like, especially today, there were some unlucky things happening for them. As for the T-Wolves and the Thunder, the T-Wolves have, a soft schedule to start the season, to say the least, and they start off 2-1 with Anthony Edwards going off. And this game was essentially decided in the fourth quarter, when it was pretty tight, but they played a small lineup with like Anthony Edwards, Jalen Noel, Nas Reeve, Jordan McLaughlin, and Torian Prince, and they just feasted on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Anthony Edwards was sensational in that fourth quarter. He had 30 and 11, efficient as hell. He closed the door on them. They pushed the lead to 20. It was essentially the small lineup for the T-Wolves, which Anthony Edwards has talked about, that it feels better for him to play with, which they can obviously mesh and experiment with those lineups, especially to start the fourth quarter, which they did, and it panned out for them perfectly. And it's kind of crazy to see that Jalen Noel was their second, took the second most shots on the team yesterday, but they got some depth. They're off to a pretty good start themselves. As for the Thunder, there's not much to say. They're off to a perfect start for them, for their tanking journey. SGA didn't play, which was sad to see. He was injured, he was ill. But Josh Giddey looks still pretty solid, even though not as good as some people thought he might be. And they'll just play a lot of young guys. They'll see who sticks, who doesn't. They'll tank another season, and hopefully they don't get rewarded for it, quite frankly. I don't want to see Victor Wembanyama in the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's for sure. And the last game of the day, the Suns defeating the Clippers in Los Angeles. Devin Booker continues his MVP-type start to the season. There has been some sensational guard play to start the season, and Devin Booker has been one of the best out there, with him just silky smooth game, 35 and 4. Chris Paul has been better, at least, overall-wise, but his shooting and his lack of confidence out there is really showing. We'll see. I don't trust Chris Paul, and I feel like this is finally the decline. Might be, might not be, might be. We'll see. And Devin Booker is just carrying them on the back so far right now. They started off the season pretty solid. They didn't play Damian Lee 30 minutes, which is great because he should not be the sixth man for them. That's for sure. And the Clippers, they were disjointed. They're figuring out. They are disjointed. John Wall played some good minutes. Kawhi chimed in with some free throws. He was pretty good out there. He's getting into the shape of things. They're playing 20 minutes a game, and they're just not. They're just not. They're just not connected enough yet. They'll find their ways when they play together. It's gonna be rough for them since Kawhi is not gonna play back to backs. John Wall's not gonna play back to backs. They'll have a limited amount of time with time restriction to start the season, but they will figure it out throughout the season. There's nothing to worry about, and they just need to be healthy for the playoffs, obviously, in the big picture. But it's good to see John Wall healthy. I'll show a play right now. Let me just show you a play that makes you the most encouraged for the Clippers and for John Wall, because his speed just seems to be not leave him. He was out there running fast. It's not as fast as we've seen him, but he can run the break as well as he had, and well enough for the Clippers to be very positive signs for them. And that should do it for today. Tomorrow's slate of games, we got some interesting games from the east side. The Pacers and the Sixers. The Sixers kind of desperate for a win. Miami Raptors again. Bulls Celtics should be fun to watch. Nets Grizzlies should be great. Spurs T-Wolves, Blazers Nuggets. Some good games. I'll cover them, and I'll be dropping the Lakers Blazers fourth quarter last 2 minutes breakdown right after this. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another box score watching and another one.